Hello everyone and welcome back to Through the Pages with Dee. Today is Monday the 10th of June and I have decided that on Mondays we are going to do something of a slightly different nature. We are back in the studio, as you can see, and I said we would get back here at some time in June. Oh, it's knocking my mic all over the place. I said we'd get back sometime in June. Here we are. So what I've decided to do as of Mondays is a new little series called The Week in View. So what I'm going to be doing in this series is looking back on the previous week of what I did, where I was up to, what I've read, etc., what I took part in, what I maybe, if I went on somebody else's channel, if I've done anything in that week, maybe watch something or, that kind of thing. Give you a little bit of information as to recap the week, what I've just had. Plus, I also think it might be interesting to share a little bit of history. I do quite enjoy history. I am a little bit of a buff where history is concerned. I do like to keep up with my history. So let's start with some interesting facts. And this is how moving along I think Mondays are going to be. So this is episode 1 of The Week in View. So I hope we like this. We'll come up with some sort of little jingle, I think, something like that. That'll be Josie's job because, she's the editor-in-chief. So we'll leave that up to her, what she comes up with. But yeah, episode 1 of The Week in View. So we're going to start like this with some history. So on this day, in 1962, Judy Garland was born. So we all know Judy Garland, famous for her part in The Wizard of Oz as Dorothy. We also know she is the very famous mum of very famous Liza Minnelli. So that was something I found quite interesting, that she was born today. So happy birthday to Judy Garland, who is sadly no longer with us. But The Wizard of Oz is one of my immensely favourite childhood films. And still as an adult, I still really enjoy that film. So, and a couple of other things that she was in. But so yes, today was the day Judy Garland was born in 1962. Then in 1940, a little bit more depressing, Benito Mussolini declared war on France and Great Britain, which then escalated the events to the Second World War. I found that too quite interesting. So it was basically Benito Mussolini's fault as to why World War II happened. Interesting. Then in my year of birth, 1977, James Earl Ray, who was the killer of Martin Luther King, escaped from prison in Tennessee, only to be captured again 54 hours later, thankfully. At least we got him caught again and he wasn't still on the run. And then something that relates to a book that I'm currently reading, because obviously we are a book channel. In 1692, the first witch was hanged in Salem Village. Now, that is right up my street as far as Salem witches go. We have our own witches here in the UK, which are the Pendleton witches. And I'm currently reading, because I couldn't wait, I had to start dipping into it. With everything that John said about the book, I had to give it a go, which was Speaks the Nightbird. And I am loving that book. I really am enjoying that book. So, yeah, I thought that fact, first witch hanged in Salem Village, was 1692, played well into Speaks the Nightbird. So those are some just little interesting facts of what happened on this day in history. So that's something along the lines of what we'll be doing on a Monday now. Then we're going to look back on the week, which I've just had. So we know last Monday, and if you haven't seen it, please go back and have a quick look. I did a review of the book Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I really enjoyed that book. I liked the mystery behind it. I liked the twists and turns and the trying to find out with the character Piranesi and the DID that was involved in that, and the sort of Greek elements to the surroundings of this house that Piranesi was in, and the never-ending hallways. And yeah, I thought it was a really good book. I really enjoyed that. Then on Tuesday, we had the great honour of appearing on John's channel and Jacob's channel, Talking Story. We had a great time. We had a great laugh. They are really, really easy guys to get along with. They've done us as a channel a huge solid, I would say. They've got us out there, and we have gained a lot of new subscribers from that appearance on Talking Story. So we are extremely grateful to not just John and Jacob, obviously, but to all John and Jacob's viewers who have come on over to this channel, to me and Joe's, who hopefully, fingers crossed, work schedule allowing, will be appearing on the Mondays, the week in view. So that should be fun. We're going to be talking about our week today. She had other things that she had to deal with, so unfortunately she couldn't appear on the first one, but hopefully in future she's going to be on these videos for the week in view. It'll be me and Joe's. And we've also been talking about this new name that I've been donned with, which I actually don't mind, D After Dark. I'm actually putting some thought into potentially doing a interview sessions with some booktubers and see where that leads to. I am quite new. I've only started in February of this year, so I am quite new. I'm still just getting myself out there, getting myself seen. But we may start off with seeing if we can get some booktubers on the channel, get them interviewed. But I kind of want to do it in a different style. So that's what I'm kind of perusing. What kind of what are the questions that I want to be asking? So that's what I'm actually mulling over at the moment. I don't know if I want to do what other channels are doing. What are you reading? Where what I maybe want to do it on a different level. So I'm still giving that some thought at the moment. So yeah, that was Tuesday. We was on Talking Story, and again, like I say, they're just really, really great guys. Very welcoming. They bring you in as family. So complimentary in what they say. I don't think they quite understand just how nice they are, and how without them and their sort of welcoming embrace, if they weren't on BookTube, there would be something amiss. BookTube needs John and Jacob, along with a lot of other booktubers who I've made friends with, but it needs John and Jacob. They lift, they give something else to BookTube, and they're just great. They're just really, really great people. Then on Wednesday, I did a little something different where I reviewed Philip K. Dick's book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? But rather than just reviewing the book, I also decided to watch the film adaptation of the book, which is Blade Runner, the 1982, what some people may call a classic. So I did a kind of book versus film type video, where ultimately it wasn't really a versus. It was kind of they both have their own merits. So the reasons why maybe you may prefer one over the other. My ultimate like outcome of that was I do prefer the book. There was more in the book for me that I enjoyed compared to the film. But I do know that Blade Runner is considered a classic. So yeah, that was just a little interesting different take on, rather than just solely reviewing a book, maybe compare it to its film adaptation. So I quite enjoyed filming that. Then on Thursday, I did a little appearance on Britain's channel, some Okie Dude. And I won't go into it because it's for Britain to reveal what we did. I think he's bringing that out Wednesday. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he said Wednesday. And yeah, we had an interesting chat. Like I said, I won't go into it. But Britton asked me would I partake in this video on his channel, and I did because he's my bud, and obviously I'm going to go on Britton's channel. And if you haven't subscribed to Britton yet, and you're one of my viewers, please go over there and subscribe to Britton. He's amazing. He has such insightful reviews. He reads a diverse sort of library. He doesn't just stick to your norm and read the books that are currently released, etc. He has a very diverse reading sort of, I don't know the word, but he's very diverse in his reading. So if that's kind of your cup of tea, is you like some older books that have maybe been around for a while and you want a new take on it, that's where to go, is to Britain. So that was Thursday. And then Friday, I did my second top 10 on this channel. I did top 10 authors I now have to buy. And coming in at the top there was, maybe to some people's surprise, but it was KJ Parker. That's how it stands as of now. I can't really see that changing because KJ Parker's writing style really suits my taste. I thoroughly enjoy what he writes. I'm enthralled from the start. He's got this kind of banter, sarcasm, wit about him, and it just really suits my personality. It's like reading a conversation that I would have with someone. I really, really enjoy KJ Parker's works. I've read 3 so far. I have read the Pulling the Wings Off of Angels, part of the Saloninas trilogy, which is the fan-based trilogy. I've read the middle book there, which the name escapes me right now, but The Devil You Know, I think it's called. But I've read that one, and 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City. All with the same kind of flavour of that banter, that wit, that sarcasm, which I just thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy. So he had to be at number 1. Don't get me wrong, all the other authors are amazing. Like I said, these are authors now I have to buy. But KJ Parker is just someone who I will now make sure I have as many of his books in my library as I can, because I just love his style. So that was the week. Every day something happened, which was amazing. It was a full week. And I liked that. I liked that every day there was something to happen. So I had a great week. So what's coming up this week? What am I reading? Well, I'm doing a lot of buddy reads. So I'm still doing my buddy read with Eva, which is Blackwater by Michael McDowell. This is like a southern kind of feel, quirky, sort of what I feel is elements maybe of sci-fi in there, but I could be wrong. But that southern, dark, kind of mysterious kind of read, and I am actually really enjoying it. It's really interesting. And this kind of main character, who's Eleanor, not quite sure what she is. There's something different about her. She clearly has a love of water, but there is just something about her that's kind of off. So that's really interesting. Then I am still reading Brandon Sanderson's Final Empire. I should have had that finished by now, but what I'm doing is I'm swapping between the books. I'm reading a couple of chapters of one, then jumping to the other, and I'm actually quite enjoying that style. I am keeping notes, very vigilant notes, like I did with Malazan, but I am actually enjoying jumping around because I'm getting little samples of each story, and it's keeping it fresh. I'm not getting bogged down with any stuff. I was getting a little bit bogged down with Sanderson. I was kind of in this place where I was like, okay, so we know Vin's got all these powers, and she's a Mistborn, and she's learning the Allomancy, and we know all this now. Yes, there's going to be this battle, but so I kind of got a bit stuck. But having continued to read, which Jacob, if you see this video, continue to read. It does get better. It does pick up again. So we have picked up again, and I'm not far off finishing. So I don't know if it'll be with this week, but it may be next week where I actually get to review my thoughts of book 1 of Mistborn, First Trilogy, Final Empire. So I'm still reading that. Then I'm doing my book club, my Ballads and Bards book club, which is Darko and Alicia. We are reading Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. This book is astounding. It could be, I'm not sure, I don't think it is a real life tale, but it could be, with the amount of detail that's been put in there. And if I would say to anyone out there, if you are a Robin Hobb fan, or if you are a lover of Shakespeare, if you like that kind of more complicated prose where it's very metaphorical in its writings, and there's a lot of sort of that kind of that kind of metaphor kind of writing, if that's your cup of tea, your bag, baby, quote Austin Powers, if that's what you like, I would definitely say, and you have maybe a strong disposition in reading about history, because we know history can be very dark. There are a lot of bad things that happened in the past, things that me personally, I wish I could go back and maybe slap a few people for, because it wasn't necessary. But the past is what it is, and we learn from it. That's why we have a past. We learn from our mistakes as human beings, and this does prey quite predominantly on the black-white divide, and I don't like that. It's not something I'm a fan of, but reading about it from a black man's perspective and what he had to go through, I always find very eye-opening. Same with, I did like Kindred. It's very eye-opening for somebody who is white to realise that, this is what it was like, or potentially what it could have been like. So that's very much what Invisible Man is about, how potentially in this white sort of ruled time where a black man could quite easily have been invisible. He's a non-seen entity. This is that sort of the premise, but there's more to the story than that. There's much more detail, much more tales of, these kind of events that you wouldn't expect to happen, and they do. It's a really excellent story. So if, as I say, you like that kind of complicated prose with lots of metaphorical sort of things thrown in there, then give Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison a go. So yeah, those are presently what I am reading. And then, as I say, I did my little book opening. I did a little short for a box opening, and Speaks the Nightbird was in there, Robert McCormack. And I was when I sort of had the lull with Brandon Sanderson, and I'd got quite far ahead with the buddy reads, I thought, right, I need something else just to, because I'm getting too far ahead. I need to wait for people. And Brandon Sanderson's kind of gone for me at the moment. So I delved into Speaks the Nightbird. And I'm so glad that I did. It's just superb. It's got this gritty kind of, when a book just takes you somewhere and you can see your surroundings, and you just have this feeling that you are actually there experiencing what's going on. I'm reading this book, and for those of you that's read it, you know who the character Matthew is. I am going through this book as Matthew. He's predominantly our POV, and I'm actually in this book as Matthew. I am him, and I am loving this kind of muddy sort of 17th century feel of the grime and the mud and these witch trials that have happened. I am fascinated with witches. All this kind of witchy, kind of tarot-y. I do love that element, and not all bad, not black magic. There is white witches, like Stephen Hicks is a white witch, but I love that kind of that dirty kind of old England feel, and Oliver Cromwell type things, and how they used to. I don't love how they treated the women, because that was absolutely ridiculous. And these contracts that were signed and it was a contract. You've married this man, you are now in this contract with him. You are now his wife, so he owns you basically. No man owns me. Let me just put that out there. I'm that kind of woman. No man owns me. So that wouldn't be a contract I'd be signing anytime soon. So I would probably be considered a witch in that time, because I would have this. It's a natural thing inbuilt in my personality where, no, I don't follow rules. No, I make my rules. That's just a natural thing of my character. So I wouldn't go down for too well there. I think I probably would have been burned or drowned or hung. But that is a period of history, like our Pendleton witches. And this gives that same kind of flavour, that same feel of, this girl's on trial, and everybody in this particular town is calling her a witch because things are going wrong with the area around them. And it's just so interesting. But not only is it interesting, the way Robert McCormack writes it is you are submerged. You are thrown into this world that he's created, and it's just stunning. I'm just loving it. I absolutely love how I can visualize it, I can smell it, I can see it, and that's what I look for in a good book, is that submersion in a story. If I'm completely submerged and I'm in it, and I am literally one of the characters, or I'm bird's eye viewing and watching the characters, that is perfection to me. So this is a great book. So that Speaks the Nightbird. If you haven't read it, Robert McCormack, give it a read, because it's so good. And that is my week, as it has been, the week that's just gone, and this week coming. So hopefully, if there's any of those books you want to read along with, Brandon Sanderson, Ralph Ellison, Blackwater, we're currently doing one story, because it's an anthology. We're doing one story a month, me and Evie. So this month, because we're starting out, we've done the prologue and the flood, which is chapter 1, story 1 kind of, and we're going to continue each month with a different story. So you've still got chance to grab those, read along with us. We'll be done for June, potentially the start of July. I am going away the first week in July in relation to the book club, and I know Darko's going away at the end of June, so we'll have to work out the opportunity of when we get to discuss, all three of us, Invisible Man together. But yeah, I'm really enjoying these books. Join along if you wish. In the comments, let me know what you think. And then on this week coming, what I'll be doing is we're doing this, episode 1 of The Week in View, which is going to be a Monday thing now. Then Wednesdays, this Wednesday's video, I think I may do a review of a book that I keep recommending to people, but I haven't really said why. So I think I'm going to go back to it, what I read last year, because it's made such a huge impact on me, and review the supernatural thriller, which is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulek. I think I'm going to review that because I haven't as yet, and I feel it's rude of me to keep suggesting it to people as, well, those that like horror, thriller, that kind of supernatural book, they would love this, but I'm not kind of saying thoroughly why, or it seems a bit odd that if it's so good, why haven't I reviewed it? So I think that's what I'm going to do on Wednesday. I'm going to review Hidden Pictures. And then on Friday, this Friday coming, I'm either going to do a top 10 again. I have an idea in mind. So maybe in the comments you guys could let me know which you'd prefer to see. So I'm thinking of either doing a top 10 of, and I know it's only June, but sometimes we like to get our books bought in ready for that period, and we like to pre-plan, etc., and join TBRs. But top 10 books that I read at Christmas, and I did read a lot. Christmas is one of my absolute favourite times of year, and through the period of Christmas, I read an awful lot of Christmas-based books. So if anybody would like to know what my top 10 Christmas books are, I can do that video. Or I have a couple of tags that I have been tagged in that I need to get done. I've still got the chess tag to do, which Pat tagged me in. I've got Chaz's tag, the childhood tag, and I've also got the horror tag, which Pat also tagged me in. So I've got those 3 tags that I still need to do. So if in the comments you want to let me know which of those you'd prefer to see on Friday, whether it be another top 10 or another tag video, let me know before Friday. So sort of, the remaining days of this week. I'd say I'll check that out by Wednesday, see what the general census is, and go from there. But other than that, I'll make the pick myself if there aren't many comments. But yeah, that's going to be this week. So that's where I'm up to with this week. And at the weekend, did I watch anything? Anything worth telling you about? No, but I did find a couple of new horrors that are about to be released that I want to give a look at. I'm always after the next horror. What's the next thing that's going to pique my interest? So I saw a horror that's coming out called Baghead, which I thought seemed quite interesting. So I'm going to be giving that a watch. I know I can get it on Amazon now, but I'm kind of one of them people who, here in the UK, we kind of pay for what's called a TV license. And then we also have to pay for satellite television. And it's a bit of a rip, really, because you're paying twice. So I'm not a fan of paying for things again. So it's on Amazon Prime, which means I would have to pay to watch it. Not a fan of that, because I'm already paying, so I don't really want to have to pay again. But I could watch that on Amazon Prime, so that's Baghead. And then I saw the clip for another one called Immaculate, which is to do with sort of the nuns and a kind of a religious type theme. That one too, I kind of fancy, so I may give that one a watch. And then there's also a one called Dark Game, which gave me vibes of, how can I not think of its name? Purge. There we go. It gave me Purge vibes, the masks, and if you've not seen the clip, search it out. It doesn't look the best, I'll say that, but I will give something like that a chance. I don't judge just because maybe it's low budget or something like that. I will give it a go. and then make my judgment from watching it. So yeah, there's Baghead, Immaculate, and Dark Game were the ones that I thought, oh, because I just watched a few clips running, and those were the ones that caught my attention. So yeah, out of those, I think Baghead is the one that I'm most interested in. But I do love me a good horror. But we've yet to get to the horror that I like. As I say, I'm desensitized, so it's easy for me to sit here and say, that didn't really do anything for me. Whereas for you, it may be like, oh, I don't like that. I'm just a bit desensitized. But yeah, there we go. That's been last week, and that's what's coming up for this week on the channel. Probably will get better at doing this. This is episode 1, so it's the first one that I'm throwing out there. And hopefully, as I say, in the weeks to come, I hope to have Joel's with me, and we can talk about the week together. So other than that, it's Monday. I will see you guys again on Wednesday. But from now until then, have a great day. Hope tomorrow's great for you. And yeah, as usual, I will see you guys through the pages. Bye-bye, everyone.